Found six more games tonight. Um, College basketball games on the Saturday night slate. Had time to kind of go through some things. Thought I'd check it out. Number one, I like Ohio State. They're 5.5 point favorites at Penn State. They're having a really nice year. Basically better than Penn State at everything: offense, defense, playing a tougher schedule even, and they are elite at the offensive rebounds. So only a 5.5 point favorite. I know it's a Big Ten conference road game. So, if you don't bet that sort of thing, I totally get it. But it just seems like one of those double-digit games. They're just that much better. Penn State just obviously lost a lot from last year. They're fine, but they're not anywhere in the league of Ohio State. So I would take Ohio State 5.5 point favorites. Next is I'm going to take an underdog. I'm going to take Eastern Washington at Air Force. Start cranking their numbers out, and they're pretty even teams. I could see on paper Air Force would have a little bit of an edge, but they're seven. But Air Force is 7.5 point favorites at home. I started looking at it, and basically the two things that kind of jumped out at me was Eastern Washington has the second toughest schedule so far. So all those numbers they put together were, against really, really, really good teams. And Air Force is at 354. So, on the bottom, 8 or 10 schedules. So it's just such a vast difference. I'm going to take Eastern Washington. I know you look at the record, you're going to think it seems kind of silly, but I'm taking the shot here because it just makes sense. And we'll see how important the strength of schedule actually is during this game. But they're Eastern Washington 7.5 points they're actually getting. So I'll take it. Then I'm taking Cincinnati with they're a 1.5 favorites versus Xavier. Both teams are in Cincinnati. It's technically a home game for Xavier, but it's probably more of a neutral game. Cincinnati's numbers are phenomenal this year. Offensively, offensive rebound. They're not turning the ball over. They're like a lead at all these things. Xavier's having an off year. Now, Cincinnati does have a lot. They are playing a lot weaker schedule than they have so far to put up those numbers. But 1.5, I'll just take it. They just, confidence-wise, I feel a bit better with them. Nevada, 4.5 point favorites over Drake. This game is in Nevada. I think it's technically a neutral site, but it's in Nevada. Both teams having great years. Both shoot the ball well, both rebound well. Nevada has a little bit better defense, again, playing at home. And the two things that kind of stuck out with me are, one, Nevada's number one in the entire country in turnover rates, not turning the ball over at all. They're number two in free throw rate, so they're actually getting to the line better than every team in the country except for one. And then they're shooting 76% when they get there. So, again, just 4.5 points in what I consider a home game. It seems kind of silly not to take that. Seton Hall, 3.5 point favorites versus Rutgers. Rutgers not saying, they lost a couple of guys from last year, key guys. Not the same. So Seton Hall has actually been shooting the ball well. They've been great on the offensive boards, actually even better than Rutgers. Rutgers still has that great D, but the last two games Rutgers had stepped up in competition. Illinois was one. The other was slipping my mind for some reason. But they scored in the 50s both games, and they gave up 76 points in each of those two games once they kind of stepped up in competition. So Seton Hall, 3.5 point favorite. I'm going to take it. And then lastly is Belmont. They're 1.5 underdog. They're playing Middle Tennessee at Middle Tennessee. Belmont, great shooting team. They're top 50 or 60 in all of, college, where Middle Tennessee is, bottom 50 and 60. There's just a huge difference. Now, Middle Tennessee stays in some games with being a really good offensive rebounding team. And then they do have a little bit better defense schedule, pretty similar. But that shooting differential was just so vast. I'm going to take it. So I'm taking Belmont and a 1.5 against Middle Tennessee State. So 6 games total. We'll see how that actually goes, and good luck to everybody.